Hello, grade 6. Welcome back to my channel. Are you fond of building houses out of Lego blocks? Are you fond of making cars out of Lego blocks? That's what we are going to talk about in this video. In the previous videos, we talked about circumference and area of a circle. In this video, we are going to talk about composite figures. What are composite figures? Let's have an exploration first. Let's discover what composite figures are. I have here a rectangle. I have here a semicircle. Now, if we are going to put them together in order to form another shape, then we call this figure as composite figure. Now, what do you mean by composite figure or composite figures? Composite figures are figures or shapes made up of two or more shapes, such as triangles, squares, rectangles. We also have semicircles, quarter circles, etc. Let's go back to this figure. This is a figure composed of a semicircle and a rectangle. By the way, grade 6, when studying composite figures, it is important to recognize what shapes this figure consists of or composed of. Again, in this figure, we have a semicircle and a rectangle. Suppose that the length of this rectangle is 16 meters and the width or the breadth is 10 meters. What is the perimeter and area of the given figure? Let's start with the area of the figure. To get the area of this figure, we're just going to get the area of the semicircle and the area of the rectangle and get their sum. Just like that. What's the formula in finding the area of a semicircle? It's 1/2 times pi times r times r. And the formula in finding the area of a rectangle is length times the width or the breadth. Now look at the formula. What are the things that we need to replace with? First is the pi. Since it's not specified whether we're going to use 3.14 or 22/7 for pi, let's just decide right now. Let's use pi equals 3.14. There's another variable or letter, r, the radius. What is the radius in the figure? If this is 16, then this is also 16 meters, which serves as the diameter of this semicircle, which implies that the radius is half of 16, which is 8. We already have the value of r. We already have the pi. Next, let's go to the length. This is our length, and this is going to be the width. Did you get that? It's time now for substitution. The value of pi is 3.14. The value of r is 8. The value of the length is 16. And the value of the width is 10. So what we're going to do next, just grab your calculator and try to multiply these numbers. This will give you 100.48. And 16 times 10 is just 160. And get their sum, the answer is 260.48. What does this mean? The area of the figure is 260.48 m squared or square meters. Be careful in writing the correct unit. Did you get that? Now let's move on to finding the perimeter of the figure. When we talk about perimeter, just think of a fence. Fence. How are you going to fence this figure? If you're going to fence this figure, we're just going to have this one, and this one. You're not going to include this. So this is going to be the perimeter of the figure. Again, this is half of the circumference. So the formula is 1/2 times 2 pi r. This is 10. This is 16. This is also 10. So that's the perimeter. Now, we are going to replace pi with 3.14 and the value of r, or the radius, which is 8. So it's time now for substitution. We have pi 3.14, r 8, and the sum of 10, 16, and 10 is 36. Get your calculator, multiply all these numbers, and your calculator will give you 25.12 plus 36. The answer is 61.12. This is now the perimeter of the figure. It's 61.12 meters. Take note of the unit. Let's have another example. Consider this figure. The question here is, what is the perimeter and area of the figure? Before we find the perimeter and area of this figure, we have to examine what this figure is made up of. The figure is made up of a quarter circle and a triangle. There are only two shapes that this figure is made up of. Let's start finding the area of the figure. To find the area of the figure, you're just going to get the area of the quarter circle and the area of this triangle and get their sum. Quarter circle is just 1/4 of the circle. So we have 1/4 times pi times r times r. To find the area of a triangle, we have 1/2 times base times height. Or this is the same as 1/2 times length times width, because a triangle is just half of a rectangle, something like that. Our next goal is to find the values of pi, r, base, and height. Let's go back to the given figure. Let's start with pi. Since the pi is not specified, then let's just use 3.14 for pi. And what about the radius? The radius is 4 centimeters. This is the radius. This is also 4. Next, what about the base? This is going to be the base, the 3 centimeters. And this is going to be the height. Did you get that? The height of the triangle. Can we interchange the base and the height of the triangle? Yes. You can have this one as your base. You can have this one as your height. The answer is not affected. All right. It's time for substitution. Just substitute the values of the letters involved in the formula properly. The pi is 3.14. R is 4. Base is 3. Height is 4. Grab your calculator. Multiply these numbers. Multiply these numbers, and you have your 12.56 plus 6. And that will give you 18.56. Therefore, the area of the figure is 18.56 cm squared, or square centimeters. Next, let's have the perimeter of the figure. And I'm pretty sure that you already have sufficient idea on how to get the perimeter of a composite figure. We have this one, the length of this arc, and this is just 1/4 of the circumference of the circle. This is the formula. Plus 3 plus 5 plus 4. We don't include this. Next, let's substitute the values of pi and r. Pi is 3.14, r is 4, The sum of 3, 5, and 4 is 12. Grab your calculator, multiply these numbers. You have 6.28 plus 12. The answer is 18.28. So the perimeter of the figure is 18.28 centimeters. All right. That's how you are going to get the area and perimeter of any composite figure. All you have to do is just examine the given composite figure. You have to recognize or identify the shapes in the given composite figure. If you're able to do that, then it's easy for you to get the area and the perimeter of that composite figure. I hope you learned something from this video, and I'll see you in my Zoom classes. Bye-bye.